Welcome, everyone, to the third episode of Inside Ideas UK Leadership Conversations, a short podcast series to introduce you to those people shaping the future of Ideas UK and innovation today. As you know, at Ideas UK, our vision is to embed innovation into the DNA of every organisation that we work with, because we know innovation is vital to the sustainability and success of every organisation. So, in each episode, we spend just a few minutes getting to know one of our team. And today, I am joined by Victor Fromm, who has worked with Ideas UK for a while now, in your shoes, really, as an organisational member. But we're delighted to now have Victor as one of our new directors. So, welcome, Victor. And as our newest director, it would be great if you could just share a little bit more about yourself on a more personal level.
Hi, Zena. Yeah, thanks very much. Nice to see you, everybody. So, from a personal level, happily married. I've got two great kids. Well, not really kids, they're over 30, so I guess they're adults, really. So, I've got two children, and now we've got actually a grandson as well, who is a real blessing. So,
Wow.
a bit of a family man. As far as hobbies and interests are concerned, I quite enjoy running. Not particularly good at it, but quite enjoy it. And also, I shoot in archery. I haven't done it for a little while, but I've got all the kit. And again, love to get outside and try and get the targets that I'm trying to hit. So that's always a good experience. As far as life is concerned and work, I've basically been in two industries: leisure and tourism, and the rail industry more recently. In the rail industry, I was with Greater Anglia and the Elizabeth Line, and in leisure and tourism, I was with companies such as Centre Parks, Trussers 40, and Whitbreads. Always been looking at learning and development initially, then moved on to management systems, and then more recently into innovation and improvement. More recently with the Greater Anglia, who asked me, if you like, to pick up that particular portfolio. So that's a little bit about me.
Right. Well, I didn't know that we had archery in common. Not that I've shot for a while, but I also have my bow and arrow sat under my bed at the moment. So there you go. You learn something new every day. So picking up more on the innovation piece, and you said you kind of moved in towards innovation with your previous company, Great Anglia. Tell us a little bit more about kind of your background in innovation and specifically kind of what you did in innovation with the last two organizations you worked with.
Yeah, so Greater Anglia, I was responsible for learning and development there, and they asked me to pick up the innovation portfolio. Um, in the rail strategy document that had been published, there's a big section on innovation and ideas generation. So, of course, Greater Anglia wanted to make sure that we were doing what was required in that field. And basically, I had no real knowledge. We brought in improvements, we made things better, but we didn't have an innovation management system. We didn't really understand innovation. We thought innovation was just big, brand new robots or platforms or whatever. So we really started from the beginning, and we brought in an ideas platform similar to the Wazoku and Sideway 6 and other platforms which you can purchase. So we brought in one of those. We put in a management system, which we built and developed and kept growing. And then at some point we decided, well, actually, we should see if it's any good, this management system. And that's when we first got in contact with Ideas UK, because we were looking for some sort of accreditation. And we were aware of the international standard ISO 56001, but we were nowhere near that. And you can't actually get accreditation for it in the UK, but we weren't anywhere near that. And we looked out for somebody who could help and assist, which is where we first met yourself, Zena, and Ideas UK, to say, well, how can we, who can come and look at it and go, well, actually, you've got a gap here and you've got a gap there, or that's particularly strong. And we also reached out to another innovation consultancy who did some training for us and helped us develop our people. So it really was a voyage of experience and saying, well, how does that work? What does that mean? Even as simple as what is innovation, what are the levels of innovation, what are the types of innovation. So yeah, real learning experience for myself and for the company. And then we also developed some we called them innovation catalysts, but innovation champions is another term you
Yeah.
could use. So we had departmental representatives who we shared our learning with, but also who helped us to learn more and more. And that spread over a number of years at Greater Anglia, and they've gone from strength to strength. So they're doing really well in that field.
Right. No, thank you for that. And you talked a little bit about kind of what attracted you to Ideas UK in the first place and the accreditation we offer and the way for you to kind of, like you said, highlight the gaps in a way, and also celebrate what you're doing really well too. Um, you kind of brought Ideas UK into your subsequent organization, but what also attracted you to get kind of more involved with Ideas UK in terms of becoming a director too?
Yeah, I think with the whole community. So it's very easy the vision for Ideas UK is quite short. It's just to embed innovation in the DNA of every organisation, and it's that feeling of embedding. Um, I've come across with a number of organisations innovation where it was put on to you, if you like, you will do this and you will do that. And what I liked about Ideas UK was the fact it was this whole embedding. And what I've experienced with innovation is it's easy to come up with the ideas. Organizations are full of creative people. All of your people are creative. But it's how do you take that creativity and how do you help it to innovate in the business? And it's that embedding, which I think is crucial and what I loved about Ideas UK. But secondly, it's actually very difficult. So how do you embed it when your employees might be the other side of the country, the other side of the world? They might not have joined that organisation because it's an innovative organisation. So what I liked about Ideas UK was how do we actually embed innovation and improvement into the organisations? How can we help organisations do that? The assessment that Ideas UK takes is a day. If you do an ISO, it's 3 or 4 days, and it's quite long and laborious. Whereas Ideas UK, it was a snapshot, and I liked that fact that Ideas UK could come in and help in short little bite-sized chunks, so the business can mature, if you like, as
Yeah.
opposed to try and change overnight. So yeah, that's the sort of thing that I appreciate about Ideas UK. It's that whole embedding, taking time, community, developing together, learning together about innovation and improvement.
No, thanks, Victor. And it's really nice to hear you say that because that's kind of what we're really trying to cultivate. It's not about telling people what to do, it's really supporting people to build their capabilities so they have that capability internally. And the piece about network and being friendly and having conversations is just
Mm.
kind of so critical to the organization itself. So I know you are a multi-skilled individual, but what experiences and perspectives do you feel you bring to the kind of Ideas UK and the directors group?
I'm hoping that I bring, and I've only attended one meeting, so we'll see. But I'm hoping I bring a pragmatic, realistic approach that will help Ideas UK move forward, but also help the organisations that work with Ideas UK. One of my previous bosses said to me, I'm a bit of a generalist. Um, and what he said was, but the thing with that is that we can ask you to go and do something. So bring in a management system, bring in an appraisal system, whatever it might be, and you just get on and do it. Lots of people talk about it and then don't actually manage to do it, but you can actually go and do it. So one of the things that I'd like to do with Ideas UK is get us ready for being able to certify against ISO 56001, which I know we've discussed on a number of occasions, Zina, but I'd like us to get ready for that. So in the background, I can make sure we've got our processes and our procedures and the things in place so that should we get that opportunity and should UCAS open the opportunity to do that, we can be ready and we're not rushing around trying to find stuff. And I think that's what I can hopefully bring a sort of pragmatic, realistic approach that's fairly calm and relaxed. However, we will achieve whatever it is we're hoping to achieve.
No, thank you for that. And I guess that also touches a little bit on what you feel your focus might be as a director over the next year, but maybe you could elaborate a little bit more on
Yeah, sure. I think there's probably three. three things that I'd like us to focus on, or I think I'd like to focus on as far as Ideas UK is concerned. One certainly is the ISO 56001 certification, and at the moment UCAS aren't allowing UK organisations to certify to 56001. But there will be a whole accreditation process should they open that ISO. There will be a accreditation process to go through, which Ideas UK would have to go through, and I want us to be ready for that. And whoever else goes through it, whether it's LRQA or BSI or any other organisation. So I think for the next 12 months, I think we can prepare for that. Hopefully, we'll be ready when they say they want applications. So I think that's the first thing I'd like to do. The second thing I think I'd like us to concentrate on, and I'd like to concentrate on, is getting more organisations to undertake the accreditation, the current accreditation that we have, which is very succinct, very helpful. It's done in a day. You have good action points you can follow up on. So I'd like more UK businesses to be aware of that and more UK businesses to undertake that. I think that would be a really helpful thing to do. And then I think my third thing for the 12 months, this is my first 12 months with Ideas UK, is to look at that whole embedding. How do we embed it better, innovation and improvement in organisations? What can we, from the outside, offer organisations and help on organisations? We've got InnoHive, which is really brilliant. So that's our monthly call where we hear from an expert on a particular part of innovation. But is there other stuff we can do? Can we work with companies maybe like Strategizer or Wazoka, all these other big businesses, of which there are a number, just a couple that I've experienced before, to actually help businesses embed? So I think for me, the first 12 months are going to be ISO 56001, more UK organisations doing the accreditation, and trying to support businesses embed innovation and improvement in the way they do work.
Thank you. And of course, we also carry out those Ideas UK accreditations really across the world with a number of successful organisations continuing to take the Ideas UK accreditation in the UAE, just to continue to maintain that level of excellence as well. So it's not just for those identifying gaps, but also for those who just want to make sure they're continually improving, continually updating, and maximizing the use of technology, etc. And we'd certainly like more organisations to take it, as you
Yes,
say, both in the UK and the UAE too.
yes.
So in terms of if you succeeded in those actions and succeeded in supporting us to achieve that, impact do you think our members will feel as a result?
I think it's interesting. I think you can do it. I did a lot when I was with Greater Anglia about thinking about what is innovation, what does a management system look like, um, what training can we give to our managers, what training can we give to our frontline staff, and all that great stuff, which is brilliant. But I think the impact, the best impact I got was when I was challenged by the DFT, or more recently when I worked for the Elizabeth Line for Transport for London for TfL from TfL, when they were saying things like, well, demonstrate that you are innovative as a business. Show us you are innovative. What have you done? It's all very well talking about it and thinking about it, but what have you actually done? In essence, that's the outputs of your embedding, isn't it? If you've embedded it, then you'll be able to show what you've done. And in both companies, we had a way of doing that. More recently with the Elizabeth Line, my colleague had what we called an innovation scrapbook, because I just loved the idea of doing something, implementing something, improving a process, improving a procedure, and almost cutting out a newspaper article and sticking it in a scrapbook and saying, oh, well, that's what we've done. So that really helped. And in fact, when we were going for the concession a second time with the Elizabeth Line, when MTR ran the Elizabeth Line, part of the bid team came back to us and said, well, what have we actually done? How innovative have we been? And I was able to show them the scrapbook, and I think it had something about 140 things we had done, whether that was around performance, whether it was around improving policy or process or procedure, whatever it might have been. But there was 140 examples that they could take and say, over the last 3, 4, 5 years, these are the things that we have done. And they were actually practical examples. And I think for me, That's what other people can experience when they work with Ideas UK, because we will be able to help and coach them to be able to have those examples. And there won't be the big stuff, we now send a man to Mars. There would be some of the smaller improvements that you make. We used to call them everyday, in GA, used to call them everyday innovations. What are the everyday innovations as opposed to the big transformational stuff? What are these everyday innovations that actually make life easier for your colleagues, better for customers, and hopefully generate a little bit of money as well? So I think it's that being able to demonstrate that you've embedded innovation in the business, and then sitting there with probably a bit of a smug look on your face, feeling very proud of what the business has done.
Brilliant. Thank you, Victor. And the last question, I guess, is looking again to the future. But what excites you most about the future for Ideas UK?
Um, I think there's a lot that we could do. I feel like we're on a bit of a cusp, and I know I'm new into the organisation, but it would be really, for me personally, be really good if people were saying, "Oh, if you want to have your innovation management system recognised, go to Ideas UK. If you want to celebrate the innovations you've made, enter it into the annual award ceremony for Ideas UK." That people are quoting Ideas UK as their reference, their first point. Training, oh, don't forget to speak to Ideas UK. Accreditation, don't forget to speak to Ideas UK. Of course, they can speak to other people as well, but it would just be nice that people were referring to Ideas UK as a friendly community that they've managed to come across in some way that can then support and help. And maybe there'll be things we can't do, but hopefully there are ways we can help those organisations develop.
Thank you, Victor. And that would be a great place to get to. And for all of our members listening today, please just recommend us to one or two of your colleagues in innovation outside of your organization. And it's great to get that organic growth and be that place to go when it comes to innovation. So that brings us to the end of this episode of Inside Ideas UK Leadership Conversations. Thank you, Victor, for taking the time to talk to us and share your story and your vision with us. And for everyone else listening, we might take a short break from these short podcasts. However, we will be back hopefully with some further sessions with our exec committee. So stay tuned. And for now, don't forget, please do get in touch because we'd love to hear from you and have that conversation. It's all about building networks. But thank you for now. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.